What's going on here? Talk me through this.
I mean, the only are coming is not because any kind of special genius or anything, but I paid attention to the fact that this is not linear. This is exponential.
Right.
And so as human beings, we always think linearly, right? We don't think in exponentials. You see something 4, 5, 10 cases, you don't think of a problem. But a person who thinks exponentially is like, holy shit, that's 1 million cases on X date, right?
Yeah.
And so you get quickly overwhelmed with exponentials. And so I saw that and I was like, this market is completely discounting it. And then when I say market, I don't also mean financial market. I also mean healthcare, citizens, people who aren't changing behavior, people who are going out and partying like it's 1999. The only way to stop something like this is to take action early. It's the only way.
Right.
Because once you get into those bigger numbers and the power of exponential growth it just overwhelms your resources fairly quickly.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You hospitals and like areas and you can't stop it. Right?
No, you can't stop it. So, but you can stop it. The way to stop things like this is to act early. If I told you, right? There's an easy way to get people to get the concept down. If I told you, hey, there's an investment I got, and it's going to pay you 200% every 10 days.
Yeah.
You'd be breaking your leg to give me money to get into it, right? You could get it as early as possible. The earlier, the better. And you're just going to make $1 gazillion. Well, this is kind of like a negative investment. They're like, hey, there's this bad thing. It's kind of small right now, but it's going to have a 200% growth rate, and it's going to be, forever.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what do I do right now to stop that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of, where we are now. And really, I'm hoovering in the information to see, is behavior changing enough to slow this thing down? Right?
Right.
And the main goal is to slow it down.
And it's but like based on, I mean, I just saw this video about this NBA player that was mocking. Did you see this clip where he was like mocking the virus and he's the one that got it? He was like touching the microphones at a press conference the other day. Did you see this?
No, I did not see that.
It's Gary Owen just tweeted it, but like, and now this guy got it. They just suspended the NBA. March Madness behind crowds. They're canceled. I mean, yeah, it's starting to like, people are starting to get that it's real, and it's like people are saying, oh, it's only the flu, but it's not really how you look at it, right? Because it's like they're saying 20 to 60% of the population could have it.
Not the flu. Like the flu doesn't have 10% of the cases require hospitalization, right? That's just not even. I've heard people say that. I don't know if they're saying that for political reasons or they think people are overreacting and they don't think they're thinking linearly or they're just idiots, But it's not even close to the flu.
Right.
Not 1 second, I mean, you don't see hospitals getting overwhelmed because people have the flu, right?
Yeah.
This disease attacks your lungs. You can't breathe, and if you get it bad, you need to be intubated and have a breathing apparatus or you die.
Yeah, and that's the thing. These incubators, aren't they? They're like gold because they cost like $30,000 a thing, and they only have so many. So it's like they can't put everyone on it. There's just not enough of them, right?
Well, it's a ventilator first of all, and you need a doctor. You can't just be on a ventilator. You have to be drugged up, right?
Right.
You can't just stick a tube down you and have it breathe you. And you need doctors and support staff and all this other thing. So, and there's only so many of them per hospital.
Right.
There's so many staff. So it's very easy.
They're expensive, right? Aren't they very expensive as well?
Well, it's like, I don't think expense is really the issue. I mean, I think, you'd find the money to buy the ventilators, right, for the hospital. It's not like individuals are buying these.
No,
things,
I know,
right?
but I mean, they're not like $100. They're like,
of
I heard they were like, I get it. Yeah, of course, like the government.
China's donating $100,000 to Italy.
Right.
China's going to donate $100,000 to Italy, right? Like in a crisis,
right?
The world is
People
gonna
come
give you
together.
the equipment.
Right.
But it can't give you the beds. It can't give you the staff.
Right.
And it can't give you the staff in the time it is. And so the selfish thing that angers me the most about people poo-pooing it and saying the flu is that 80% of us will be okay.
Right.
We get it. It's mild, whatever, but we pass it on to other people, right?
Yeah.
And it's those people, the 20% of people who either shows severe symptoms, require hospital help, or require intubation, that's really bad for them, right? That's really, really bad for them. And like people talk about, you guys aren't even doing the most basic. People aren't even doing the most basic things to help the spread of something that will really crush people if the system's overwhelmed.
Right. Yeah. No.
Right. And so.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not that we aren't all going to get it. Can't all get it at the same time, because we need to like have the cases come in at a rate that the hospital system can help everybody.
I didn't even think about it like this, but so is this essentially at this point, this is a thing like measles, chickenpox, this is something in your lifetime you'll probably get coronavirus then. This is like how that works? Is that what that means? It just means if it's all going to be like now, or if it's like at some point you get it and now that's just how it is. Is that, because like I never thought about chickenpox or the measles, but that's something that happened in the history of our world, right? And it's like people get it. You get the chickenpox as a kid. Right, you can is that how it works?
I'm no expert on this, but I can't say exactly how it works, but my belief is that this is something that eventually mostly everyone's going to get, unless between now and then there's some sort of cure, vaccine, treatment that crushes it or whatever, right? But under the current landscape that we're looking at, we're all going to get it eventually.
Right. Right, and there's no cure right now, so there are no immediate.
Listen,
yeah.
It's Einstein who said the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest, right?
Yeah.
Like it's this. This is what he's talking about. Exponentials. The power of exponentials is just ridiculous. And so, as a trader, I've been exposed to it. As an engineer, I've been exposed to it. When somebody says, "Oh, we have this growth rate," and the R naught, which is how many people one person infects, which is like 2 to 3, I'm like, holy shit, that's a huge exponent.
Right.
It's huge.
Yeah,
and so
it's scary.
That's why you see graphs where people are like, 3 weeks ago they had like 60 cases and now they're just completely overwhelmed. And it's not because they have 10,000 confirmed cases and 10,000 people are trying to go to the hospital. It's because 10% of that is trying to go to a hospital in a region, whatever region it is.
Well, then the other problem is, right, people get the flu. What, like, say you and I have a common cold right now. Like, if you get the flu right now, you're going to be freaking out, and you're going to want to go check it out, right? Like, you're going to think...
Are you okay?
It's Jamie Staples, actually. I'm here. That's a subscriber coming in. Jamie Staples just rocked in onto the thing of all people. Okay. Shit.
Yeah, the issue is like, there's going to be some psychological torture. If you got COVID-19 and they said, for your age group, there's only a 0.5% chance of you dying. It's like, you don't want a 1 in 200 free roll to the degree.
No, that's disgusting. You might die of a heart attack. I couldn't handle that. That's serious shit.
Especially when you're feeling like shit and death already.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
No one got time for that. No one has any. That's not cool. Yeah, that's not. And because that's another thing. People are like, oh well, it's People keep dropping this.
I'm like,
can you shut this theory down? Because I see Yatraj in the building saying flu kills 39,000 a month. Can you explain when people use this argument why this is not the right way to approach this? Maybe you could break that down a little better.
Because the flu has been. Yeah, because the flu has permeated the planet and has, first of all, the flu, 1, has been around for 100 years. And 2, the number of people infected, is much larger. When you get these numbers up to the numbers of the transmission of the flu, then you're going to see 10 times the death of the flu. And on top of that, the flu, right, requires not as much intubation or hospitalization, right? And so even with the higher death rate right there are people who go in the hospital, get on a respirator, and then they come out, right? They beat it because they have help with breathing. But if you don't have those breathing apparatus, they all die.
Yeah.
If you need a respirator and you don't get one, you die. Period, end sentence. And so that's why Italy's death rate is going up. right? Because they have, if you look at Italy's death rate right now, the current one, it's pretty high. And they've already put out something right now where they're telling people, if you're over 60 and you need a respirator, you're out of luck. Because they don't have the resources. They're prioritizing younger people who have a higher chance of living.
Wow.
People, if anybody in my timeline gives me the fluke thing, whatever, I'm just straight blocking them. Because it's such idiocy and so stupid. I don't want other people reading it and thinking like that and not changing their behavior.
They say what exactly? If they basically diminish what it is?
They give me this flu thing and it's just the flu.
Oh, yeah,
The flu killed this many people.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you know what? You might as well just be talking about, will automobiles kill this many people? Like,
right.
It's just a false comparison. It's a distraction. It takes away from what needs to be done, which is people changing behavior.
Yeah. No.
And so I'm just straight blocking anybody who says that on my timeline. I'm just straight blocking cats. And I just want to tell you to your face, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, it's serious. And like you said, even if it's like, oh, well, we're healthy, you're young, or kids can't do it. Listen, the kids get it. They go to school. It spreads like wildfire. Then they give it to people that can, right? It's not even about like getting it. At some point, you're
making like a very, very good point. Is like that one of the biggest vectors for flu or any virus or any disease is school.
Yeah.
Right. So whether or not the kids are immune, you don't want to create this mixing bag where we spread it and then send them home and give it to their parent or other people, their grandparents, and kill other people. You want to stop the spread.
Right.
It's very simple. You want to change your behavior so you stop the spread. The president of the United States is not shutting down flights from Europe because it's the fucking flu.
Right.
So anybody who's a fucking clown out there giving flu analogies, you are a fucking idiot. You don't have to be an idiot. You can educate yourself, but you are a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and there maybe part of that is like fear or just want to act, like exactly. It's also it's ignorance too, because you're talking about scientists and people, and the World Health Organization just called it a pandemic. It's like, if you're saying these things, it's exactly, and maybe you have power over some of the people that follow you, that look up to you, and when you say that, you are not helping this, because now people may say like,
oh. On the timeline and they're just going, oh, it's just the flu. I'm just going to go about my business. I'm not going to wash my hands. I'm not going to distance myself. I'm not going to do my part in the community. Like, this is one of those things is where we're like super decentralized, right? We're not a command and control place at all. So that means everybody has to pitch in and do a little bit in order to get the rate of spread down so we don't overwhelm our medical resources. Period, end of sentence. Full stop. That's what needs to happen. And until that happens, we're going to keep having chaos. And we can have a really, really bad situation.
In like Florida, for example, which I think is more of a unique state than all for the U.S. just because it's so heavily dominant by elderly. And I saw some stats on the age of 65-year-old plus. I mean, it's one of those things. You saw that nursing home in Washington where it sprung up, like 31 to 35 got it, 13 died. Like these kind of homes, nursing homes, areas start getting it, and it's like in Florida, for example. It could be once it crosses that path of. It's like, yeah, exactly. What do you do? Who do you? It's just like it's real serious.
You basically have to change behavior. Like the only thing you can do is change behavior. Like right now, I mean, the other people, there are people out there like trying to develop a vaccine, testing whether existing antivirals will work on this and help you. There's people doing their part, right? But for like me, who's just a regular dude on the street, and all the other regular dudes on the street, the things we can do is just change our behavior.
Right.
And like you can lead by example. Like, I shut down my office. I'm like, no. We were like, oh, we're going to work till 5. I'm like, no. This is the last, stay home.
Yeah.
Work from remote.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean? Like we're not fucking around. You know what I mean? Like this is a real deal. This is not a drill.
Let me ask you, you see the stock markets, obviously you trade natural gas, you've been a trader for so many years, and in terms of the markets, in terms of how does this work though? You close your office, people close schools, kids aren't going to school. Like saying that this starts, I guess in China it's already kind of gone the other way, it's slowed down, but at what point is it where things are back to normal? At what point do you feel realistically, I mean, I know you're not a scientist, but just my understanding, how long until the NBA suspended, sports aren't going to happen, all these kind of things that are regular, flights aren't happening, people aren't traveling, it's like the world stands still. In theory, how long could that? What do you think the longest case scenario that could happen is, or what would you even guess if you had to? Like, it seems.
I mean, it's really hard to guess. I mean, there's 330 million Americans, and I don't know, like 30 million Canadians, right? And different states, and you want to see So when you have exponential growth, right? Every day, the number of new cases, assuming that you're testing properly, which we're not, right? So one of the things that has to happen is we have to have ubiquitous testing, right? Because South Korea, right, they had ubiquitous testing. They're testing 50,000 people a day if they want to. When they get the test results, they're giving geolocated information to the other people to change their behavior to like bring this thing down, right? And how do you know when you brought it down? It's when the number of new cases, so it goes like this. You have 12 new cases. You have 24 new cases. You have 50 new cases. You have 60 new cases. You have 80 new cases, right?
Yeah.
When the new cases from one day to the next, right, assuming you're testing well, starts equaling the day before, you're halfway through.
Okay.
And that's just math from the exponents, right? Like in general, actually, I shouldn't say you're halfway through. You may be halfway done.
Okay.
And so then your final number of infected cases should be 2 times wherever you are on that point. There's a very, very good video on this by, what is that guy, XKCD or XK, whatever his name is?
What, on like YouTube or what's his name?
Yeah, he has a nice video that XKVD or XKCD.
Oh yeah,
I think it's XKCD.
Yeah, I think that's him.
If you
too.
look him up, you go on his thing. He has like a nice video on exponential growth. What happens? When do you expect it to taper off? What do you need to look for to see it taper off, etc. It's a very good explainer on that. And I think if the whole world understood exponential growth and understood these things, people would have behaved differently. But as human beings, I really can't fault them because we don't think exponentially. We just don't get to see that, right? Things just don't accelerate exponentially. They just don't do these type of things, right?
Right.
We get very, very few examples in real life of it. We see lots of linear things, right? We see all kinds of linear things. Very few exponential things. Aliens may think in exponential terms. But, when you encounter one, it's very, very powerful, whether it's positive or negative. If you see exponential growth in a company, in a stock where it's growing at 60% a year, every single year, you're like piling in like a motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, now that, the world has shown you an example of how to do it right. It's shown you an example of how to do it wrong, right? It shows you what happens when you wait to change your behavior. We should take those lessons and change behavior. And finally, a lot of people weren't taking it that seriously. And now they're like, oh my God, we have to take this seriously. This is not a drill.
Right.
It's not a hoax. It's not a drill. Serious. And there's real risk to real people.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could just do your part by just, start washing your hands and staying away from people. Right? Because there's a good chance that you could be an asymptomatic carrier. So you're like whistling down the street, hanging out, going to the bar, doing your normal thing, and if you could be one of those people that infect 5, 6, 7 people.
Right. Because you don't know for 7 days, 2 weeks, you don't even know if you have it.
Oh, hold on. There's not only that you not know if you 2 weeks, there's people who never know that they've had it.
Interesting. But so I don't.
They've had no symptoms, never felt sick, whatever. They just never know.
So how does that work? Your body just has a good immune system or something? Because I thought that was the thing.
It has a good immune system, whatever. Like, think about kids, right? Kids don't get affected. They're not dying, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You have a good immune system. The virus is in you. You're still putting viruses on other people, around them and doing whatever, talking to them, farting, whatever you do that gets the virus anywhere. I don't know how it gets transmitted exactly. I just know you keep your distance and you wash your hands. But if you're asymptomatic carrier, you know what I mean? You're just infecting people left and right.
Right. So that's even, more reason why schools in particular, that's why it's got to be shut down. Because if the kids have it, they don't know, they're not getting tested, and now they're at home, grandma's there, you're there, everyone has it,
Right.
and now people do it. Yeah. So, I mean, man. And
This world will be a lot better when we're testing like crazy. Like when it's just like you can just get your answers, you can test like a pregnancy test or whatever, then we're going to know, right? Like then things are going to get like whatever, because we'll be able to easily isolate people, self-isolate people, stop the spread, drive down the exponential growth down to like linear growth and then negative growth, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You don't want the situation where the exponential growth, the only reason why it's declining is because you're standing around already infected people. Right? You don't want to have like 70% of the world infected. It's like, well, everybody's infected, so you know what's going on. Because the problem is it's really easy to do the math, right? Like there's 2.8 million hospital beds in the United States of America. 65% of them are used. Right?
Yeah.
There's only so many ventilators. So all you have to do is take a very large number, like 10 million, multiply it by 5%. That's 500,000. I mean, we're at capacity on beds. You know what I mean? For with ventilators and stuff like that. So if that's the problem, right? If this was like nobody, you know, like only 0.1% needed hospital help, we could maybe, you know, infect a lot more people in the United States and not worried until we got a very, very big number. But that's not what it is.
Right.
And so if you don't have those beds available, right, the death rate goes alarmingly high. And that's what happened in Wuhan. I don't believe those death numbers in here. It's like you don't have beds and this guy's in the hallway. He's not on a ventilator, but he's in a hospital and they're trying to treat him.
Right.
But you know what I mean? He has no ventilator.
I don't understand either these doctors and these people that are here and they're like in the right suits, but like imagine being in like Wuhan and ground zero and you're just like eating like help with 400 people or 1,000 people that have the thing. Like how do you not get it, or you do get it and then it's just like you're okay if you're a healthy doctor you can help people? Like I guess that's what I don't understand too.
You get it or you succumb. It's like healthy people are going down. There's like this guy in New York right now, 35 years old, in a coma. You know, coming back from Italy. There's young people who are in dire straits in the hospital. Like, don't start giggling like, oh, I got it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course.
You got it like that because the reason why you got it like that, in my opinion, not a doctor, but I've been told, is that because you're younger and you're stronger, when you go on the respirator, you survive. You last longer until you get to the respirator. And then when you're on the respirator, you survive. Stick an old person on a respirator, they die.
Wow. Okay. And what about?
Still, it doesn't matter. Like, do you want to take a? Let's say your chances of death are, you know, small, but then it's like 50x that you might need to go. Your chance to go to hospital and be on a respirator. It's like I don't want to be on a fucking respirator. You know what I mean? Like, who wants that?
Yeah, it's scary. You too. You're in there, and then you're in there. It's like overcrowded. It's crazy. You're surrounded by it. You don't know what's happening. It's a scary scene. You don't want to deal with that. What precautions are you taking? What about schools? And I mean, I saw schools are closing here. I don't know if the whole country is. What about your daughters? You know, Brisa, Sky. What's going on with?
Yeah, I've been lobbying the school to close. We took them out for one day. I guess our school. I'm very disappointed on their actions. You know, especially as a community leader.
Yeah.
And about community service, because there's an ethical thing to do, right, is to close schools. And I think schools have other considerations that are not necessarily, I think they're underweighting, you know, the role they can play as a spreader of this disease and the impact. So I've been lobbying the schools like you should be closing. You know, I'm actually angry that they're not closed already. And, you know, I can tell you after spring break, you know, we go on spring break Friday. You know, my kids will not be going back to school.
Right.
Unless a miracle has happened, you know, between now and then.
And what for in that perspective, that train of thought, if it's how serious it is and what's going on, why wait till Friday? Or I guess it's almost there, but like in theory, isn't it every day it's getting worse, things are happening?
I mean, we have our own personal, so, you know, we've had family meetings on this or whatever. We're like, do we go to this place? Do we not go to this place? Do we go here on this vacation? Whatever.
Yeah.
And so right now, the density, right, for as far as we know, of infections per square mile is low. So the risk of contraction is low for us individually. Okay? community-wise, it's still growing exponentially. But for us, it's there. But at a certain point, like let's say you're in New York City, right? And let's say you have, it's you're in Manhattan, 2 million people, 21 square miles, right? Or whatever it is. Close to,
that's not where you want to be.
It's like if you have one, you know what I mean? Like, as that density starts going up, you not to be in contact with the other people. It's too dense. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we're kind of like, listen, if we're going to take any risk now, and Sky has, like, my oldest daughter has like finals and all these tests that they give and whatever, and like it would be like a big deal, and am I going to like put her at like a disadvantage going to college or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, it's like a lot of different considered calculation. It's like, if we're going to take any risk whatsoever, I guess it's right now. Right. Personally, I'm saying personally for us, because it's not later, because the risk goes up exponentially, right? It's like, the risk is not that big deal. Next day, no, that's a big deal. 20 days later, it's like, oh my God, you can't go anywhere.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes sense.
And so I think it took some. I think it took, like, Mayor de Blasio said, oh my God, the hospital was like, we're starting to see people flood in, right? He couldn't give an accurate count of what was going on in the situation in New York City, or maybe he refused to, or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, people are like, those reports are going up the chain, Homeland Security, whatever. Now people are like, okay, this is not a joke.
Right.
Right? This is not a joke. And so people start taking it seriously. And that's unfortunate, because usually, the numbers start off small in exponential growth, and, you kind of poo-poo it. And then you're like, holy shit, where'd all these people come from? You know what I mean? And the problem is, by that point, the next wave, the next 6 days, it's overwhelming.
Right.
It starts to get overwhelming really fast.
Isn't it? The math that someone told me is every 3 days it doubles, roughly. Is that right?
I mean, well, it depends. Everybody has their estimates on how many people one person is going to infect.
You said 3.
So is that 2 to 3? Yeah. Is it 2 to 4? Is it? It depends on the circumstances of the city, wherever you are, and what you're using. The numbers I've been seeing, I just been kind of baselining on, is 6, right around 6. But they always give a range. Mm-hmm. It could be 3 to 9, 4 to 8, whatever.
Yeah.
But every 6 days, you have a doubling.
Right.
And the doubling doesn't have to be in the confirmed cases, right? Because there's this whole pool of people out there who don't feel that bad. 80% of the cases, right, are mild or asymptomatic. So they're spreading the disease, but they're not coming into hospitals, they're not getting tests, they're not doing anything, but they're growing, right? They're an army out there, growing. And the only time right now in the United States, when you see people, right, is they're sick and they go into the doctor, like, I think I got COVID, right? They get so bad that they go to a hospital.
Right.
So you're only seeing a fraction of the number of people infected.
Right.
Right. If you have 31 deaths, if you think the death rate is 1%, how many people? It's a good estimate as anybody.
You cut out there for a second. What was the estimate, Bill?
I said if you have. I said, like, if you have X amount of deaths that you have from COVID-19, you just divide that number, right?
Right.
By what you think the final death rate is, and that's how many people should be infected in theory, right? Approximately. Mm-hmm. So the observations that we're seeing, like, people are realizing, the higher ups are finally realizing, like, we have a problem.
Right. Well, also you see Tom Hanks and his wife got it.
And we need to take steps.
NBA players get it. There was a player on Juventus, one of the best soccer teams in the world has it. They're shutting down stuff. I mean, it's out. It's crossed over the like whatever. I think people that are ignorant to it or think it's irrelevant are officially now they see what's happening. Trump makes a statement. They're closing borders. Like, yeah, it's a serious deal. I want to ask you, Bill. Obviously, we both love poker. We both play a lot of poker. We both travel. I mean, I think we have to just touch on it. And a lot of people watching our poker players, they'll see this, are play poker live in casinos. I mean, I can't think of a worse place. It's kind of obvious to play touch chips, be in a small room. You know, people you were talking about World Series of Poker, the odds. I mean, now it looks like I can't imagine it's possible, right? They're closing. They're shutting down the Olympics. It looks like all the major events. I mean, like it's just like
I saw the 12-1 number,
yeah.
And I just thought, like,
this is a steal. This is like not even real, right?
Well, see, I didn't bet. I'd take 10-1, 8-1 right now, easy.
Yeah.
Like for all you got, like I would have put $10 million on that number because exponential growth.
Yeah.
It's like you just can't. Like people are looking at it currently and saying whatever, and I looked at it like, okay, it could not happen, but we're not changing behavior. And until you change behavior, this thing's going to grow like wildfire until it's a problem.
Right.
And so that was my whole thing. It's not like there's no extra brains on this thing. It's just looking at it like, okay, this is what exponentials do. When you're standing on this part of the curve, it looks like no big deal. You take one step to the side, and it's like holy hell on that side. And you know that the only way to stop this thing is to change behavior. And we've seen China change course. We've seen South Korea mobilize and change behavior. And we saw a case where Italy didn't change behavior till it was too. And
right.
Now they're in full crisis mode.
Yeah, and I'm seeing countries like Sweden, Switzerland, they're getting cases everywhere, but the countries that are actually less affected are really taking serious matters, that they're realizing, like, we see what's happening. Other countries, it's wait till too late. Why don't we just shut it down right now? So, I mean, that...
Right. And so, I want to explain that another way, right? Like the whole thing, like if this was a linear problem, everything that those countries would do would look like an overreaction. Like you'd be like, they're crazy. Why are they going crazy?
Right.
There's only 4 cases. Like who cares? No big deal. But when you have an exponential problem, you're crazy not to act.
Right.
You're absolutely crazy. You're just as crazy as to invest in that 200% return thing early I talked about.
Right.
It's just the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
You always move.
Well, I mean, this is my opinion. Again, obviously, I'm not trying. In terms of poker and casino,
and it's growing.
Yeah, but if you could think of a worse place, and like, let's say you're at the LAPC or these places, or you know, in Vegas playing inside a casino, you're just touching chips from like everyone in their mother. It's actually the worst thing you could ever do, right? I mean, really. Like, and here's the thing: if you're saying
effing way.
You couldn't pay you probably all the money to go and sit down at a card room at a casino and sit there and play poker for 10 hours. The reality is, and people, I have my hand sanitizer, I have gloves on. No, you're touching your face in between. You're touching chips every hand. Like, it's just like, it doesn't make sense. It's like literally the worst thing you could do.
You're not even a meter. I mean, you're the recommended meter away from somebody. You're 6 inches away from like thousands of people all the time.
Right.
And thousands of lives. I mean, people get sick in the flu. All kinds of other things just go into that thing, right? Because it's a mixing pot of whatever. It's like, oh, I got this sickness, you didn't get it, your immune system's not used to it, you're gonna get it. This is the bottom line. So
right.
Like there's like 0% chance. And I would like, not only would I not do it in this current environment, I'm saying that where we don't have ubiquitous cure.
You there, Bill? You cut. I don't know if you got that. Hold on. You got cut off when you said, "Not only would I not do it," and then you cut out.
Not only would I do it because of risk to me. That's like one thing. But I wouldn't do it because I don't want to set a bad example.
Right.
Like I mean, people like, oh, well, he's doing whatever. Like he must think it's safe. I'm like, no, it's not. This is not what we should be doing. Not even just thinking about yourself. You need to think about the community.
Right.
You know?
Well, the scary part about the poker is too, like Vegas or these places, guys are coming in from anywhere in the world. They come for 3 days, 2 days, they go to LA, they're playing, and then they fly home and they've touched, there's like no way to even know what happened. Like you literally could have touched like 2,000 people within a 6 hour, whatever, 9 hour, maybe it's 2 days span. Someone touched it, they have it. It's just fucking.
Tom Hanks is a rich and powerful guy.
Yep.
He's a rich and powerful guy.
Yes.
He has COVID-19.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know, guys, like, like if Tom Hanks can get it, anybody can get it. And if you think you're going to go into a thing that has 10,000 people in like a room, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hate to say it because I'm, obviously we support poker and we want whatever, but we got to be realistic and, it's time to click some buttons online, play a little relax if you like poker. You got options.
Listen, let's get the testing right. Let's get it so where everybody can get testing, and testing is ubiquitous. Let's drive down behavior and stamp this thing down outright, and then we can have a poker tournament. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then maybe you could do something, or let them get like a vaccine or a cure, or find an antiviral that works. If you come out tomorrow and you're like, hey, works on this thing, party on, gosh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's get it back on. Yeah, we'll have to throw a special event once it's all calmed down. There'll be people fiending. They'll haven't had their live poker for a while. Jamie Staples in the chat asks, what sort of personal movement do you guys think makes sense? Jamie's asking, are you self-isolating except food or doctors? I'm not even sure exactly, but tell me what the Bill Perkins methodology is from today on. What are you doing until this thing's
I just been mainly chilling in my house. Like, I have to go to record the audio book, right? So I go there, but I'm heavy on like washing my hands, staying away from people, I'm avoiding crowded spots. I'm not doing any unnecessary things. You know what I mean? You won't catch me at the bar or the restaurant or whatever. If I go to a movie, it's I pick. I'm a meter away from everybody, washing my hands. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Yeah, you're living your best life, but you're not mixing it. You're not going to crowds. Take it easy. Yeah, take a little.
Yeah, I'm just modifying. Listen, if everybody modifies their behavior a little bit, it's going to die down. All you have to do is do your little bit of your. All you have to do is do your part.
Maybe Bill, maybe this will solve or like help the world moving forward, where this is bring everyone together. Maybe everyone will pick up a piece of litter, be a little nicer. Maybe this is like what we needed for the world to work together. Something like this, because honestly, it's fun. It's crazy. Isn't it crazy though? Like if you think, I'm 33. I don't know in your life, like SARS happened. I don't even remember it. I was a kid. Like I didn't even know like what was going on or what that means. I just knew it was bad. And like, that's like the thing I've heard that's the most close to, but this is crazy. Like shutting down borders, people are freaking out. It's fucking wild. Like looking at it from my, like pretty much our whole generation, mine and below, have never seen really anything like this. And now there's social media, and it's what's that?
It's a 1 in 100 event. It's a 1 in every 100 years event. Like this is what Bill Gates, he's a very bright guy and very much into epidemiology and supporting his cause. And these are the things that keeps him up at night worrying about things like this.
Right.
Some new virus that nobody has an immunity to, as of yet known, that is highly contagious and has a higher lethality rate. Like, boom, here it is. Welcome to the club, And so here's the deal. Like, even if you change your behavior enough so that instead of infecting 3 people, you only infect 1, that's better than nothing, right?
Right.
And if everybody does that, then this thing will slow down so that enough that our hospitals can take care of people who get sick, and that we can eventually, drop it out and give us time, give a lot of people time for that eventual cure, vaccine, or antiviral that works.
Yeah, I want to say is because
massive.
The SARS deal, which you found out quicker, but it killed faster. That was like how I was explained that. But the scariest part about this too, in my mind, is like, all right, well, luckily this is killing. And it's bad to say that, but it's not like 10% or 30%. Like, who's to say what it does, right? It's a virus that like we had no answer for, and it spread like this. Like, yeah, this is like ultimately something that could threaten mankind, like with something more powerful. Like, well, who said it was 1% or 2%? What if it's 60%, right? Or 80 or 90? It's like,
I think right now in the current version of it is, but the one thing that gets scary, like if you want to go down the rabbit hole, is mutations.
Right.
That's scary.
Right.
You come out with something that is mutation or it's just, or like you create a vaccine where somebody is strong against it and they're just like a super carrier. So they're just infecting people left and right, but they're carrying there's these horror movie type scenarios that I don't even want to think about.
No, I'm not trying. I know your mind wanders, and mine too a bit. I don't want to freak people out. I'm just saying, it's like this is like this type of thing. It gives like it really brings it to light. Like you hear that meteors, some kind of crazy shit that you just have like there's just nothing you can do. But this is like very real, present, and it makes you think like, well, fuck, like what can we really do at certain points?
I know. It does, and it's scary. It's like Lara's sick right now, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, well, does she have the thing or not? She just got back from LA. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, is it the flu and the cold, or is it COVID-19? You know, it just fucks with your mind. You know, all these permutations, but the uplift. To slow it down and bring it down. We can come together, you know, think about our fellow human beings, our fellow American citizens, our fellow neighbors, the people we love, our elders, our ancestors, whatever, and just change our behavior for them. Is some of it an inconvenience? Yes. Is some of it not an inconvenience? No. What's the matter with washing your damn hands? You know, I've never washed my hands this much in my entire life.
Yeah, you got your I know you have a sanitizer bottle nearby. You might even have it in your pocket right now. I bet you got.
Yeah, it's like, but I'm soap and water. Like I'm soap and water. You know what I mean? Like I'm just soap and water. Every time I can see, I'm like, all right, it's time to wash my hands. And then just wash my hands, wash my hands, wash my hands. Drink a lot of water. You know, I'm just doing the things, trying to take care. And I think if everybody does that, you know, it might not be the complete elimination, but it slows it down. And so everybody's got a part to play in life. You know, that's one of my favorite sayings. You know what I mean? Yep. So I'm telling everybody to get back in theirs and do some good.
Get organized. Well, Bill, we've done a podcast before. This is a treat because honestly, I know you are up to speed and you have a very interesting intake. So I hope we'll maybe replay this. This is live on my Twitch. So this is a lot of good info, a lot of good insight. Obviously, you're not a scientist, but you got a good grasp and maybe help people understand, or at least if some people are just saying it's the flu and don't worry about it, to kind of slap a little sense and make them rethink that's good. Before we end. We talked about that stuff. Tell me a little bit just about your book. What day? It's May 5th, correct? Die with Zero, which is the title's a bit intense for this moment, but yeah, that's that is the title of the book. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and what to expect and where they can maybe pre-order it?
Yeah, you can. I think all the bookstores, the sellers, whoever's your favorite, whether it's Amazon or Indie Books or Barnes and Nobles, I think they're all carrying it. You can pre-order it right now, and I definitely shamelessly will put that out there. But it's about using all your resources effectively throughout your life, so that you do not waste your life. And essentially, it goes like this: everybody here is working for survival, but we're also working for experiences, right? One of those experiences is survival. So we want to survive, and we also want to thrive. And in order to thrive properly, one, you need to use all your resources, which means you need to spend all your money before you die. And not only do you need to spend all your money before you die, but you need to spend it in the right time periods of your life, right? If you had like $1,000 to go ski, if nobody got like money, but they just got tickets to do stuff, right? You wouldn't be using those tickets when you're 90 or 80, right? You'd be using most of your tickets 30 to 55 or something like that, right? You need to basically, it's not only on having these life experiences you want to have, but it's also the timing of those life experiences. And the book is all about that, to maximize and optimize your life.
Yeah, I can say I read the book. It's super fascinating. It really is interesting, and it shifts your way. We got to subscribe right there. What up, Mad5820? Yeah, so that is May 5th. We'll have an official podcast closer to the date, talk about it a little more, but it's very informative, very interesting, and really kind of looks at it a different way. The title's got a strong message there, but it's really don't waste your life, right? It's like you got to do stuff at certain points and enjoy experiences. At the end of the day, it's you get caught in the rat race, etc.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this book is basically don't live your life on autopilot. That's it in a nutshell. And then I go into how to optimize your life and not live on autopilot based on what you want. I'm not telling people how to live. I'm just telling them how to get the most out of their life in the way that they want to live. So whatever you want to do, whether it's your beach bum or I want to ski, or you want yachts, or you want to do charity work or whatever it is, this is how you get the most of it out of your life. And it's not like a formula, it's not like heavy math. It's like exponents and pi x to the 35th divided by, it's not that. It's more concepts, right? It's concepts you can apply every day to your life, ways to think about things in order to get the most out of your life. And
what, just to kind of finish off here, I know you got a lot going on over there. What would you say to someone who's like, oh man, F this guy, he's a billionaire, he's got hundreds of millions, he can do whatever he wants. It's not that easy. I'm a mother, I'm raising 2 kids, this and that. How would you explain to someone that maybe doesn't have the full financial freedom or whatnot? How could you kind of give an analogy or an example of how this could maybe, that's not necessarily what it's about, or how they could apply some of the concept to?
Well, every day, right? Like every day, like one of the simplest things, right? Like every day you have a choice on how you're going to spend your time, right? Whether or not you're going to choose this event or choose that event.
Right.
Even when you have no money, right? Like you need to order your life. Like let's say you had no money whatsoever.
Okay.
It was just experiences that you could do for free, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to get value out of the book? Well, you're going to come into the book. You're going to realize, wait a minute. I like hiking. I like playing chess. I like playing. Hey, Laura, can you get this? Hold on. Hold on one second.
Yep.
I like hiking, I like chess, etc. And you're going to want to be like, wait a minute. Do I spend an hour? Do I spend 10 hours playing chess? Or do I spend more hours hiking because I'm not going to be able to hike when I'm 90 or 85?
Yeah.
Right? Or am I going to go hella ski? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to, based on you, it basically identifies like, hey, there's a season for every activity, right?
Right.
And so there's a season when your kid's going to be 2. And so, Jeff, I would say, hey, make sure you get off autopilot, identify everything you want to do with your kid up to 2 years old, because once it's gone forever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that to that example in that scenario, it's completely true. That same thing. It's like there's always able to do more. Do you play poker for X amount of time? Well, your son, I have an 11-month-old Joseph who you've met. No, it's like it's the best. I love it. It's like so fun. They're like starting to kind of walk, learn stuff, do stuff. But that's done soon. They're talking. Then the other, so it's like how do you? And I find myself struggling a bit with that to sort of balance time and like what makes sense or what are you really doing, what do you enjoy, work, otherwise. And I think if you were to look back, I'm 33, I know you're 50. If you were to look back at up to your life at this point, and I know for me I can say this, there's things that I look at and I'm like, man, from this time period or this days or what I was doing, like, and now appreciating time so much more because I have a son, because I have a wife, because I'm not like it was not like it was, right? When you're in your 20s and you're exploring the world, you're with your boys. Yeah. It's like everything is different as a time. And yeah, you got to really take it, realize that things change.
Here's the deal. Like these are tough trade-offs and decisions on how you spend your time, what you're doing. Right. But if you're not on autopilot, you'll always make the right decision.
Right.
If you're on autopilot, you'll watch your life pass you by, and you'll let seasons of your life pass you by where you didn't allocate your resources, and that's at any income level or zero money.
Right.
Right. If you wind up 86 and you're like, shit, I was gonna hike over here and I never really got to hike to see the top of that thing, but now I can't do it. Then you know what I mean. That's kind of on you. You missed out on that experience and the memory dividend of that experience, and the joy it would have gave to you, and you'll never get it back. Right, and so it's not always like just a physical activity versus a non-physical activity. Although often it is, but it may be other activities of like spending time with a loved one, or this person, or that person, or doing this. And like basically, life is like Tetris. If you don't get those elements of your life in the right order, you don't get the maximum fulfillment.
Wow, that's
and that doesn't matter whether you're playing.
That's deep. Tetris. Did you just think of that? I've never heard you say that. I know a lot of your analogies and your stuff, but I've never heard that.
I just threw it out there for you so you can have a visualization, right? And so it doesn't matter if you're playing Tetris for $1 million or $50. You got to get the order right.
Or play money. You got it. You still got to.
Even if I play money, like it's just like if you don't get the order right, you just don't get as many experiences in your life.
Damn, you just dropped Tetris in a big way. That's the best quote I think I've ever heard you do it. Don't tell me that's the first time you've said that.
Tetris is one of the first analogies. It's like Tetris is. I've used packing algorithm. Like a packing algorithm, but Tetris is a packing algorithm game. It's just that's the way life is. Right. If you were up in heaven, this is the one I usually say, right? Like I usually say, if you were up in heaven and God goes, hey, grab out of this basket all these activities, and grab out of this basket all these activities. You can have them. You can have pick them out as many as you want. So you want to have sex 20,000 times? Here you go. You want to have, you want to ride a motorcycle? Here you go. You want to go rave running? You want to go hell ski? Here you go. Let's give you all these experiences that you could do. Okay? And you got this whole bag of experiences that you're going to have for your time on Earth. And let's say God says you get 86 years. And now you're like, great, I get to have all the experiences. And God taps you on the shoulder and goes, well, you can, but you got to order them right.
Right.
Then you're like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? That's the problem of life.
Right. Yeah, you got to full.
Save up all the extra when you're 90. Nobody's going to do that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, but people do it though. People do that, right? I mean, and that happens that for everyone guilty. I guess everyone plays Tetris differently, and everyone it's hard to get a perfect game or what that really is. But there are people that save till they don't even think. They're just saving. I got kids. I got college. I got to do this, and then all of a sudden, they're 65, they're 70, and they're like, oh shit. And that's the autopilot. That's what I mean. That's where you're trying to. People miss that. To not miss that.
So Jeff, there's a chapter called Time Bucket Your Life, right?
Yeah.
And so basically I say that, people talk about a bucket list, but the bottom line is that you're not going to wait till you're 80 and then be like, okay, I got this huge list, I'm going to go do this, right?
Yeah.
And and when I say like there's a season to your life, like you don't just die once, you die several times. And what I mean by that is that your 30s, they die. You being a single guy, that dies, right?
Yep.
You having a teenager or a toddler, that dies. And those seasons die, right? And so each season has its own bucket list. And you got to get that right, if you want to optimize your life. So I have a bucket list of things I want to do with my kids while they're still teenagers and young girls and blah, blah, blah. I have a bucket list of things I want to do when I was a single guy. I have a bucket list of X, Y, and Z. It's not like I'm just going to wait till I'm dead and be like, wait till I'm close to the grave and be like, okay, let me check off this list. And so I have this app or the thing I'm working on to help people think about like, hey, let me think in my life as discrete periods and the experiences I want to have in those discrete periods, because certain experiences go in certain buckets. Like my glow stick days, raving at a party, they're pretty much gone.
I like that. I like the pretty much gone. I like that. Well, all right.
Pretty much gone. But like it's like Chuck E. Cheese tokens, right? If you spent $10 on Chuck E. Cheese tokens and you haven't used them and you're 33, you're probably never gonna use them.
Right. I have so many tickets. Over. I got so many tickets from those machines. You save up, and then the Chuck E. Cheese. Then you don't want to go there anymore. It doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not optimal. That means you spent money for tokens you're never going to use. And that's kind of like life, right? Like you got a period in your life, and this is the period for X, Y, and Z. And if you don't get, and these are your wants. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying for each period of your life, there's wants that fit in that period. If you don't hammer them, then it's gone. Suboptimal. Sorry.
But more so whether you are, you're not there to tell you what that is, but again, if this book jars you to just even think about it, it's sort of like meditation and focus. Like I know I'm not focused a lot. Like when I'm doing 20 things at once or too many things on my phone, but like I'm aware at least when I'm not focused or when I'm doing too much, It's like if you don't step back and sort of take a breath and realize what's happening, then it's autopilot. And I think that, that's powerful.
Jeff, let me tell you something. It's very difficult, and it requires a lot of deliberate action. Because listen, I write the book, and I'm still like, all right, time bucket your life. I put up the bucket, I'm like, holy shit, what do I want to do? One of the hardest things to really do is to take a pause and figure out what you really want.
Yeah, for sure.
We're so on autopilot, going through the motions, doing whatever. We never sit down, take a breathe, and go, okay, these next 5 years, given my resources and within reason, not fantasy, but accomplished, what experiences do I want to have? What do I want to do in this period? What goes in the next 5-year period? What goes in the period after that? What experiences am I going to drop in each bucket? It's actually nerve-wracking. You're like, shit.
Yeah.
I've been winging it and just on autopilot for so long, I never really thought about it.
Yeah, and it's also you could take it a step further, and not only just experiences, which it's like about relationships, your parents, your closest friends,
everything,
all this stuff. What do you want to create? What your legacy? Same
health,
with you.
Family, health, family, leisure. Love life. Whatever. And all those things go into certain periods of your life.
Well, it's the same thing with this book. I'm sure you've thought about this for a while, or you got this idea, but it's like at some point it's not easy too. You got to write the book, you got to go through the process, you got to take time to call, get the right editor, all this stuff. It's not just like it happens. So like at some point you have to say, if I want to do it, I'm going to do it, right? You don't want to wait like another 10 years or 20 years. There's something, you know, like you gotta. It's like there's a time and there's sacrifice. You're giving up time for other stuff you're doing to do this. So yeah, it's always a kind of a formula.
No, but I think it's an important message. I think it's an important message because a lot of us will. You can just look at the healthcare costs. A lot of us will spend a lot of money at the end of our lives for an extra 2 to 3 months of living, or maybe even a week, right?
Yeah.
And we're and we're saving for that, blah blah blah. Where we're giving up all these days and hours working for that during the prime of our lives, and then on top of that, we're not even really enjoying and get the most out of our prime of our lives. You know how I know we're not? Because we're not even thinking about what we want. We're not truly pausing and thinking about what the fuck do I really want these next 5 years?
Right.
What experiences do I really want to have? You know, this COVID-19 thing really it's throwing a monkey wrench in my thing because my favorite thing is travel.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, I want to travel here. I want to go to Italy this summer. I want to go whatever. And I'm just like needle scratch. So now I have to sit down and go, okay, what experiences do I want to have these next 2 years? You know what I mean?
Right.
And what's possible, et cetera. So
yeah,
it's not easy, but it's something that I think everyone will get their lives back, you know, because you only get one ride on this ride we call life. You only get one adventure. You only get one time to be between 30 and 35 in your 30s. You only get one time to be, you know, have a toddler. You only get one, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that just the season comes and goes. You get one shot. And so people need to be deliberate and identify what they want. Like, listen, if they want to go crazy and whatever, I don't judge any of that. I'm like, but make sure it's you.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And make sure you optimize so you get more. I just want you to have more of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're like, hey, I just want to go to strip clubs and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, great. I just want to make sure you have more of it. And you optimize for it. If you want to do charity things, do that, whatever. I'm like, great. Let's just optimize so you get all these things in your life.
Right.
Fill your life up and have a great adventure.
I don't want to spoil
and then that doesn't really matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much money you have.
Right. I don't know. Absolutely.
I'm saying get the most out of your life. Whatever your resources is, squeeze every last bit out of it by deliberately thinking about what you want.
I agree with that. I don't want to spoil your book, but can I share, because I did read it. You sent me a copy to go over and kind of check it out, which I did love it.
Well, let's hear about that. You got what's called a galley. So just to explain to the people what a galley is.
I don't know what that is.
When you write the book, it's been, the editor has gone through it, but not the copy editor. And it has some graphics or whatever, but there's definitely still errors in it. And then that's the book that go to people to review the book or people to look at the book, whatever, but it has errors, it has whatever, it's not the final book. So Jeff has seen the book. It's going to be almost exactly the same, but there were a couple errors that need to be fixed, and all the graphics had to be changed. I had graphics in there that looked like a textbook. I was like, fuck that. We need to simplify this and make it easy to digest. This is not a textbook. This is a fun book to re-examine your life. And so go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to share two things quickly that, and not to, again, so I don't want to like give away the book, but whatever. I think it's interesting because just two things that hopped out to me. One, about inheritances. If you're fortunate enough to have money left over or whatnot, really looking at why it doesn't make sense for someone that, let's just take $2 million, for example, a family has, they wait till they're 95 or something, or in the will to give to maybe someone that, or dead, to someone that's like their kids, maybe they could have used it at 30 or 40, like 40, 45, 50. They have kids, they need, they could actually use it and much more effectively than, once your kid's 70, like hopefully they don't need, a million, hopefully they've done well on their own and are able to like sustain themselves. So that's one thing that's very powerful to think about, that not necessarily, it's not, wait till my kids are a certain age or, whatever. So that thought's very powerful to me. And then the other was the example saying you gave, I believe it was your grandma or your mom. Yeah, your grandma maybe $10,000 for like a certain thing, but she like ended up at that point, she ended up just saving it, and she bought you a sweater for like Christmas one year or something like after, and didn't really ever use the money. It's like she was like whatever age she was, and it was like in your head that made you think, man, like I wish I had done this and given it to her earlier, because for her 60th or 70th or whatever it was, or get some amount of money, some gift, but basically that principle of like she didn't use it, she didn't want to use it,
It was just a real life hard, personal example of like you get to a certain age, you can't spend the money. It's because your abilities and also your attitude and your interests narrow over time.
Right.
It's just the data is irrefutable, right? Even including, like, people always worry about, my healthcare costs, my healthcare costs. I'm like, even adjusting for healthcare costs, seniors spend less. Period. End of sentence. You know? And so what happens is that, you know, with my grandma, when I gave her the $10,000, I was young. I thought I would put the money where would she want the money, right? But at the end of the day, what's she gonna do with it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know? Like,
yeah, she's going to the movies.
So,
she's watching Netflix. She's chilling out. Like, yeah, what is it?
She's living with my mom. It's like she's not gonna go freewheeling, hopping down, go to Vegas. You know.
Yeah, she's not hitting Nobu. She's not going to Chippendales.
Let's get some.
Yeah.
She's not going to Chippendales. Get some boy toys, light money on fire. Like, yo, we balling tonight. You
yeah.
know, that's just not gonna happen. And you know, I looked at this. You know, as I looked around my thank you. When I looked around my life, you know, my ancestors, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm sitting here talking about, like, I'm different, but I'm not. These are my ancestors. I'm going to be them, you know?
Right.
It's like, and speaking on, like, the kids situation with inheritances, you know, it just, you know, when you say, hey, leave money to, like, a 65-year-old, everybody already throws up. They like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But that's what we do. You know what I mean? Like, here's the bottom line. If roughly your mental health, I think, peaks around between 28 and 30, right? It still can grow, whatever. And then your physical health, it peaks earlier and it plateaus at 33, and then you're in decline.
Really?
Right?
33? Why you got to why you got to come with the 33? Just coming right at, this is it? I'm at my prime?
It's
all downhill?
This is it. It's
really?
all downhill. It's all downhill.
Right here, this moment. All right.
It's all downhill.
33 and a half.
This is it.
Okay.
Whatever. If you get in the best shape you possibly can, this will be the best shape you ever will be.
Wow. 33.
So
interesting. Never heard that.
That's ask any Olympian. The people who are, like, at the best shape of their life when they're at all times. Yeah. And then they age. You know what I mean? They can be in the bestest shape of their life as past 33. It's nowhere near as good as when they were 33.
Well, we know Olympian or two, so we could check on that. But I think they
ask that question.
Yeah, I think they peak. Well, I guess that makes sense. The best athletes are kind of, that's like their prime slows down, right? 34, 30.
Because
like,
we have a benchmark, right? They're always in the top 1% of the. You know what I mean? They're at the top 1%, right? Like, they're always doing their best, unless they were, like, slouchy and just beasts, right?
Right.
But the bottom line is this: is that as you get older, your physical ability to get value out of your money declines.
Right.
Right. So,
yeah.
You know, giving $100 to a 65-year-old is not as valuable as giving $100 to a 33-year-old.
Right. That 33-year-old's going to they're going to use it, or they're going to do stuff they couldn't do, like that they weren't doing before. Their interests are different.
Yeah, but the way I say it is that their interests and their interests are wider and their ability is better. And so they have more utility out of $1 than a 65-year-old, just plain and simple. So if your goal is to give your kids positive experiences and you want to maximize their life experiences, you want to give it to them. You want to give them the money when they have the most utility for it, when they can get the most experience out of it. You don't want to give it to them when they're 90 on their deathbed. What if I live to 108? My daughter's 90. I'm a week till I die. She's 90. Then what's she gonna do?
Yeah, she might not be alive at night. Yeah, you might outlive, whatever. It's doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so that's the extreme example, right? You can use an extreme example, and you can say, okay, yeah, I get the extreme. So somewhere between 0 and X age is the right age, and I make arguments in the book for what I think the right age is.
Right. It's also, and that's also maybe a function of maturity and other things going on in the life or whatever, right? So it's like, yeah, it's going to be different for everyone, but the point is, don't wait necessarily. If you can afford it and it's not going to change your day, you should probably at least consider to not just have a will and, like, let that be that. Or adjust it. So yeah, super interesting stuff. All right, well, Bill, we could talk forever, and we will have. This is an hour. This is literally, we'll have another podcast, but I might even have to just throw this video up somewhere because you dropped some knowledge, and I see the people coming on and watching and enjoying. But yeah, stay safe. We'll have to link up soon, and yeah, man, I'm in Russia, so I don't know. We're working on it, but this got escalated quickly, and it's supposed to be here till Tuesday, and I think gonna leave in the morning now. It's already 6:30 a.m. here already, so it's a bit late, but we're jamming out of here. Eddie's here, Roble, some other guys that everyone's kind of antsy to get back to the U.S. Just because, again, not even that they say whatever. It's just like stuff happens in a second, right? They tomorrow wake up, new things are going. They say, oh well, no, we're just closing everywhere, not just London, leaving open certain places, and it's just you don't want to mess around. It's not good to be. It's actually for the first time in Russia. The fact that I am scared of Russia. Like, I've never wanted to go. I remember you and I almost went in 2013. We were looking at visas and passports. I think you ended up going later, but we were in Houston and we were about to jam over there. It's funny because, like, Russia does scare me a bit, just like the whole deal and like whatever. And then here I am, and it's like the first time there's like a real crisis, Like, I'm legitimately like, I couldn't think of a worse place further away from home. Now, actually, it's beautiful. I've had a great time here, and shout out to Sochi Casino and the whole place. So I'm not saying like that, but just in terms of proximity, like if you told me like shit's shut down, you can't get home, and you're in Russia, like that's not in Canada. That's not even in like Vancouver. You find a way over the border. You drive like that's not easy. Like you're far. That's far.
No.
Not where I want to be right now. They say,
oh,
no, like shit doesn't go for 3 months, 6 months, and you're just like, it's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
So we gotta roll.
No, even 30 days you'll go crazy, right? You want to get home.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm going nuts already. It's like I feel like sick, and when I heard the message tonight about what's going on, and I kind of saw it coming. I just thought maybe it would be another week or two being over here. But I know you were considering coming here originally, and then you were just like, I'm out. But you're dialed in.
I mean, this guy like this is just like, here's the problem, like, when like you can see exponential growth, but to understand and predict all the secondary and tertiary effects that happen, it's impossible. I have no clue what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you see in Australia, other places, they call it the toilet paper crisis. People are fleeing. You don't know. Like, at what point does order, like, gets lost? Like, there's no way, like, you call 911. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, shit's just, like, everyone for themselves. Like, it should hopefully never would come to that. But it's like, you don't know how people are going to respond. Like, imagine in Wuhan. Can you imagine what was happening, like, when it like, escalated? It must have been, like, a zombie apocalypse.
Listen, not since Kent State has a National Guard been called up against its own citizens.
Is that what happened?
I mean, they have the National Guard. They have the National Guard in New Rochelle.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
They called it up in New Rochelle. They brought the National Guard out. I'm like, people are like, oh well, it's in New Rochelle, no big deal. That's some scary ass shit.
I don't even know.
You don't know what the ultimate plan is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
I'm hearing because I don't want to be a hype master. You know what I mean?
Right. No, we're not trying to work people up. This isn't. We're not looking for headlines, and we're not going to go in the rabbit hole and whatever. But you're right. Like you just want to stay ahead of it and be smart.
Wait a minute. The National Guard's called up? Wait a minute. That happened in Katrina, and that happened in Kent State, and they're going there because of a quarantine.
Right.
To keep people where they gotta be. I'm like, that's some serious shit.
Right.
Guys with guns. You know what I mean?
Right.
Coming in to, like, that concerns me.
Right.
That concerns me. And how many cases can you see in New Rochelle? Can anybody count them? Does anybody know? No, it doesn't seem like that much, right? But sure enough, National Guard, there they are.
Right. And
so I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Where that's in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a certain place? So like New York is off. Like there. I mean,
you would catch me dead in New York right now. I was supposed to go to New York to record the book. I didn't use it.
Right. Yeah.
I can't be in New York City, and then all of a sudden they're like, we're shutting down New York, and I can't get out. No.
Yeah, it's probably already chaos, right? Like there's probably already people there. The flights get jammed up. At what point, the workers don't want to work there. At what point, like I wouldn't want to be a screener or something. You're just sitting there like.
It's just too dense of a city for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't, everybody has their own thing, and there's a lot of people are gonna be okay or whatever and stuff like that. But like now, I'm at the point of like, if I fly into a city and it gets shut down. Do I want to be there? You know what I mean? Like, Can I hang out there?
Right.
Is my whole family with me? Whatever. Like, these are considerations now.
Yeah, it's serious stuff. So, all right. Well, Bill, we'll have a follow up. This was very informative and always good to catch up. And we'll definitely I'll hopefully get back to the U.S. pretty soon, hopefully tomorrow, and then I'll touch base and we'll figure something out. Hopefully everything slows down and calms down a bit. But yeah, seeing the NBA postpone the season, March Madness played without fans, who knows if they'll even have it, all this stuff like that. These are like big, and there's a lot of implications financially, right? These aren't like the Olympics, they're saying, is like a big underdog to happen. I don't even know if there's new news. This was like a week ago. Like you start seeing, because there's a lot of financial repercussions. It's not just so simple as like, oh, like we're not going to do it. This is like, these are big deals. A lot of money, a lot of things involved.
I think the consumer is responsible for 70% of our economy, and people can't consume, right? Like can't go anywhere. Like events are not happening, and so, it's a new normal for at least for the foreseeable future. And so everything needs to be priced in for the new normal until, things turn the corner. Yep. But, from my perspective as a trader, and I'm not recommending anything to anybody, you can look at my timeline. You saw when I said this market is undervaluing this threat, right? Way back when. And, until I see things getting better, I see them getting worse. It's like, is tomorrow going to be a better day? Oh, not yet. Right. Behavior hasn't changed enough. So when behavior's changed enough, then I'm going to be like, okay, I can be bullish or I can get out or whatever. But until then, I'm not too bullish on anything. I'm not saying I'm right. It's definitely going to go down. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to be long.
Right.
We could have 10 million, 30 million, 40 million cases here in the United States. We could, or we could have none. I don't know.
Right. Now,
I don't know.
Leave us on this. What if you were saying until that date, or like until you think schools open back up or tickets, like it'd be a wild guess, but if you had to set a line just off the top of your head based on exponential growth, what you're seeing, what info you have, just like throw something out there. Obviously not just like based on the information, which is limited. When do you think
Whatever
this is
the
like?
Number of cases.
Yeah.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
2 to the 20th is around a million. 1,048,000, right? I think it's 1,048,000 or 1,048,000. 2 to the 20th.
Okay.
Anyway, let's just call it 1 million to make it simple, since I'm on the phone and don't have a calculator.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever cases you have, and it's totaling every 6 days, right? So basically, right, 6 times 20, right, 120 days.
Yeah.
In 3 months, you have 1 million times as many cases as you have now.
Wow.
Right. It's not going to go that way, right? That's basically the whole United States of America, right?
Right.
And so it will slow down just because of the simple math that when you start getting so many infections, the people you're around are already infected, so the infections start growing as fast. But like in 2 months, if it keeps going this way, roughly around May, the hospital system is completely overrun. It's done.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And there's really no way. There's no way to catch it or to start. You could prepare and you could try to start doing stuff, but it's just a function of workers, supplies.
No,
like you can't.
People take about the 5th or 6th or 7th or 10th doubling seriously. I mean, that's what Italy did, and then they just shut shit down like mad because they have to. That's what China did, right? China had to shut shit down like mad.
Right.
So things start getting better.
Yeah.
Things got better in China because their behavior changed. Once the behavior changed, things get better.
And so, like, USA is still at a point where you think we're still early enough to change, and that's basically what you're seeing right now with the airports.
You're starting to see on the edges behavior changing, which is good. It needs to change more, but we got to get rid of the clowns that are like, this is the flu and blah blah blah, whatever. I'm like, nah, dude, it ain't the flu. We need to change behavior.
Right. All right. Well, Bill, we're gonna leave you on that. Thank you so much. This was a treat to catch up and hear your insights. And yeah, stay safe out there. We'll see you get home. Brisa, Sky, everyone say hi to Lara, and we'll catch up with you very soon. Thank you for the time.
All right, man.
All right.
Will do.
All right.
Travel safe. Love you.
Love you, man. Bill Perkins, ladies and gentlemen, that's a treat. I'll tell you what, I've known Bill since 2012. One of the smartest, sharpest, most interesting people in terms of how he thinks about things. I know he was spot on about this a couple weeks ago, and I don't know what to say. I'm in Russia. I'm trying to get home, and I was doing a poker stream earlier. Got Bill while we were chatting, and then hopped on the call. Ended up being an hour. It's super late here, and I have to decide. I think we're leaving maybe today. I was supposed to do commentary for the Triton. I'm sorry, well, not this is not Triton. This is the Sochi Party Poker High Roller series. There was the 100K final table tomorrow. Another short deck event, then the 250K. But yeah, gonna probably be getting out of here. Just make sure to get home, at least back in North America. Like I said, hopefully gonna do some streams, or maybe I get to Mexico or go somewhere even, lay low, get the family together and figure it out. There's a big Power Fest starting on Sunday the 15th to the 29th on Party Poker. I want to stream as much as possible, assuming that everything's calmed down and relaxed and can be somewhere to do that. But yeah, I'm trying to get back home, and being far away in a spot where all of a sudden the borders are closed, it's pretty scary. I was supposed to do the Triton commentary for Jeju, and that got postponed and canceled, and then came here to support Rob Party Poker. And yeah, now time to get back, and hope you guys stay safe. Please be smart. Don't underestimate this. Again, if nothing else, understand that you can get it, spread it, and really do damage and potentially kill someone that is older or sick. And obviously, if you're in your 30s or 20s or teenager or child, it doesn't mean that you get it and everything's just guaranteed fine. Yeah, you're in a lot better off shape than someone that's older or has health issues. But really, do your best to help. Get the hand sanitizer, wash your hands. Do the thing on the doorknob. Don't spread your shaking hands. All that stuff. Just do your best, and this can help a lot. And obviously you see people. Tom Hanks, NBA stars, Juventus player, gets it. They're closing games. They're behind doors studios for big sporting events, and they're even canceling stuff. South by Southwest, Ultra in Miami, World Series of Poker likely canceled, Party Poker is shutting down events, Triton shutting down events, and if you're playing poker and you're touching chips in a casino, good luck. I would highly advise against that. Of course, so many friends, different casinos, places that I support, I want business and whatnot, wish them the best, but I think it's common sense, and I think I was hoping to play the Hard Rock in April, some of the stuff, but who knows if that's even going to go on. And we'll have a lot more information in the coming weeks. But do your best, stay safe, be smart, respect others, and I will see you guys soon.